What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm According to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion, the original Nigerian Nightmare. Again, originally the first African champ before a bevy of others. Beat that UFC, but this is Voodoo Maximo. Ah, ah. There you go.
Uh, and you all already know who's sitting to my right. None other than
Yeah,
Miss
man.
Ada
I'm just,
Day. That's right,
it,
Mr. Ada Day himself. That's right.
I'm
Let's
just,
go. According to
dude.
Woods.
See, you could call me Woods Adonis, right? Not Woods a dumb ass. Those are different because that's usually what I'm called. But you could call me Woods Adonis in terms of getting African-born champions and showcasing them. I think with Voodoo here, Dana White was like, "Hey, I see what Woods is doing." With Voodoo Maximus, former U of MMA champion, so I'm gonna have like three of the most like vaunted of my divisions be curated and championed of such descent, royal descent. So look, I think Dana's listening.
That's right, man. He better pay attention because he might learn something.
Just saying, just saying. But I mean, UFC 260 happened last night. A 10 fight card. Um, man, this one was weird. So let's get it started off, right? We
Yes.
had Mark Andre Barreau. That's what they said. We called him Barrialt. They said Barreau. And then
Okay.
we called Abu Azatar, but they were like
Mhm.
Azitar. Like they
Mhm.
emphasized the I in
Mhm.
Abu's last name. But this one, I don't know what the fuck was this. I mean, it actually ended up a way better than what I was expecting, right? But there's a couple highlights for me in this one, right? Where I think it was like the second round, where there was like a flagrant nut shot that happened or whatever, and then Joe Rogan, right? Because the referee, and he's only been like a referee in the UFC just in like the COVID era times, just the Performance Institute times, at the Apex times, right? But he hasn't worked many shows before. But
Mhm.
he went to go stand him whatever, and he stood him up in a particular corner, and Rogan was like you could just sense that he was just irritated. You stand him up in the middle, like Rogan had to fucking tell the referee what was what. Um, that that was that was it. God, the fact that both of these gentlemen going into the third round were so completely spent in terms of energy, it was like a war of attrition. Rogan didn't know, you know, that they could continue. They were just like, I think at the end of the second round, they were just like, they're just so tired. They're just so tired, right? And it just fell off the rails. And then, first off, the muscularity of two gentlemen. These two look like two action figures. Those World of MMA figures, from back in the day, they look like two of those. Like they
Mhm.
just yoked. And
Mhm.
obviously, Barreau, as they said, MAB, I'm going to call him. But MAB, had his last victory overturned to a no contest
Mhm.
because obviously he tested positive for something. I don't want to say obviously, it wasn't obvious at the time,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
yeah. So 5 seconds left in the fight, and Abu was pretty rocked by MAB,
Mhm.
and he kind of tripped to the ground, and it was just like a shit show. It was,
Yes.
oh, but then in 5 seconds left on the fight,
Mhm.
and many thought, especially in the commentary team, DC and Anik as well as Rogan, they were like, "This." I mean, Rogan was pretty emphatic. It was like this. This could have been stopped you know, like 2 minutes ago.
Mhm.
So what were your thoughts, bud?
Well, I actually enjoy this particular match. I like the fact that these two were tasked with starting up this beautiful UFC 260 card. It was fantastic. It was awesome. The Abu Azitar brought the fight. You know, he he didn't come there to lose. Bottom line, you could see that in his actions, and neither did Marc Andre. Marc Andre was not only willing not to lose, he was ready to change gears and go the extra mile. Not only did he go the extra mile, he changed where the fight was going on. He moved it down to the ground, secured top control, and started wailing down upon his opponent, Abu. And like you said, with 5 seconds left, he was able to secure the victory. So shout out goes out to Mark Andres, 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 Mark Andres. Shout out to
I'm
that
gonna
dude.
I'm gonna drink some water for you. That hurt my throat. Good lord. But yeah, MAB wins his first official UFC win. Congrats to him. Shout out. Go ahead. Moving on. Because there wasn't much, going because I just these two are gonna struggle, right? In terms of the top echelon. Hell, even the top. I think they're out of the top 30, right? So
Hmm.
getting into like even the top 20 or the top 15, they're gonna have
Hmm.
some problems.
Yeah.
So this might be a kind of I guess a result of all of the short notice like call ups and whatever, and
Hmm.
just filling spots on the roster
Hmm.
just to have
Hmm.
somebody there because
Hmm.
ESPN is giving UFC fat money
Hmm.
for fat money. You
Hmm.
can triple F PHAT squared fat money. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just announced. Uh, I can't even remember where I saw it, but the parent company of the UFC, WME, William
Hmm.
Morris Endeavor, they are
Hmm.
actually looking to become a publicly traded stock, right? So to it, so to it that they are looking to buy out the UFC because there was a bit of a conglomerate that happened that basically gathered the $3.4 billion, right? It was, but they own 3.4. I mean, they own 50%. So I want to know, not that it matters, but like, okay, $3.4 billion. We got that, right? So whatever like literally the biggest talent agency in Hollywood put a lion's share of that, but only to get 50% of the company. So they're looking to pay the other 50%. So we're talking about at least, almost $1.8 billion or whatever, so they can go public to get more money. It's weird, right? But obviously, like 85% of the revenue from William Morris Endeavor in 2020 all came from the UFC. All came from the UFC. So, with that being said, that's where we are. And I think this first matchup between MAB as well as Azitar, right?
Hmm.
This was a casualty of that, where you're just calling people up and whatever. You're having more fighters, but lower pay, which we're gonna get to later.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, man, it's a I guess a casualty of happenstance.
Yeah. This mixed martial art thing is very young, but yet the potential is great. The potential is great only because the product continues to evolve damn near every month. Every month there's something new. Boxing can't do this. Wrestling can't do this. Any one of those other sports cannot do this. Mixed martial arts is the only thing out there that's changing so fast, so quickly. So therefore, the opportunity to make multi-billions and billions and even get into the trillions of dollars is there. Potential is there, right? And especially the way we're headed, all these new talents, the Sugar Sean O'Malley's and the Brandon Royvals and these guys, man, they're bringing that stuff that we used to watch in the Chinese movies. They're bringing that to reality. What Bruce Lee dreamt about, they're bringing it to reality now. So when you talk about WMA seeking to buy out the rest of the stocks, It makes perfect sense. I would do the same thing too, and be the sole controller of this entity. Why not?
Yeah, I wonder what WMA is doing. It almost WMAC Masters is actually what Shannon Lee was the commentator for way back in the day, where they had the wolf and the whatever, and a cool ass belt where the medallions and everything like that. So maybe that's where you're going. But yeah,
W.
it is smart for for William Morrison Endeavor to acquire the sole rights to UFC.
Hey, hey,
Obviously,
hey, hey, man! Shout out to Panther. Shout out to Hakeem. Shout out to Mike Chatterat. Shout out to
yes,
Tsunami. Shout out to Yin Yang Man. Those
yeah,
dudes were
dude,
pretty awesome back in the
hell
days, man.
yes, hell yes. WMAC Masters, never
Yeah.
forget.
The
Hashtag never forget.
Chameleon. I used to
Yeah,
train with the Chameleon, man. I used to train with her at Big John McCarthy's gym.
what?
Yeah, she was there.
Oh,
She was there.
we
She's
need to do it.
still badass. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Even now,
course.
she's still badass.
Of course, like I met Laser of the American Gladiators way
Yeah.
back. I want to say maybe 2012 and whatever, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's Laser!" Fuck, man. Oh, no, it was Turbo. Turbo.
Terrible.
Fucking yeah, man. You're fucking badass. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Don McGuire says, "What's up, brothers?" Shout out to Don McGuire.
What's up,
Boxing has
OG?
stood the test of time, 100%.
True.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
There
I
was no competition.
I don't give a shit about boxing. I'm gonna say
Boxing.
it.
Look. I enjoy boxing, and boxing has stood the test of time. But there was no competition. There was nothing. It was just boxing. Boxing
Right?
manipulated all sports, right?
Yeah.
They manipulated all combat sport and had everything by the throat. Now there is something else that people can look at. Not
Yeah.
just something else, something better that people can look at. You know, boxing will always be boxing, but it is not the top martial art there is anymore. Now we have mixed martial arts, the real deal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So even if Glory, kickboxing, and all those other ones, if they was to go mainstream, you know what I mean? Boxing will continue to drop because these federations are way more exciting than boxing as well. Glory and K1. I mean, if they can go mainstream in the West, boxing will slide right down the tube, man, because people want to be entertained. People want that
Agreed.
real stuff. They want that
Agreed.
real stuff. What if you throw Mayweather in there with any of those Thai boxers? What will happen? There's a good chance that they will
Fucked
all
up.
slay him easily,
There you go. Fuck him
easily,
up. Fuck him up.
easily,
100%.
easily. So people want to see this. They want to see. I mean, when the UFC was first put together, this was the question: who is the better? Which art is the better? You know what I mean? Boxing is great, but it's falling down. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
going this way. It's going slowly, but it's going this way.
No, I mean, and Don McGuire says boxing is my roots, and he disagrees on that. Here's the deal. Here's the
Boxing, boxing is all our roots. It's my root
yeah,
too. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But the fact still remains that you bring any boxer, your best boxer versus our best mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, our guy wins. Your guys has a puncher's chance, yes. But 10 times out of 10, our guy wins. This is
Here,
all I'm saying.
no, I agree 100%. And I will actually say, and I grew up watching Tommy Hearns and, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Tito Trinidad and all of that, right? But here's the deal. The fact of the matter is, right, because I think boxing got a little bit way too big for its britches, right? And with the fucking, the managers and the fucking promoters, and you don't see the fucking fights you want to see, and then the fucking somebody gets an envelope and whatever. The last time I was into fucking boxing was the Triple G Canelo and everything, and that was a shit show. And I was like, done. Fuck this. Good. I'm totally good. Fuck it. And McGuire says, what happened to Connor? Guess what? Okay,
Whoa,
Connor
whoa, whoa,
jinx.
whoa.
Connor
Go ahead,
fucking
go ahead. I'll let you
jinx.
take that one first.
Connor jinxed the fucking system, right? And here's the fact of the matter: in terms of pay, right?
Mhm.
Even the WWE may not. I wouldn't dare say it isn't real, right? But even that, some of MMA's biggest and brightest are getting bigger paychecks over with Vinnie Mac than they ever
Mhm.
did with Uncle Dana.
That's
So,
true.
just saying,
That's true.
like, I mean, MMA in terms of pay scale, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Boxing is number one, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Boxing is number one, and then you got WWE just in
Mhm.
pay, right? And then
Mhm.
you've got MMA, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
that's where we are at 2021. No
Okay.
disputation, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is, right? You can take go take a group of boxers, right, and drop them into the CMMA UWF conglomerate that is headed up by Chad George and Josh Barnett. I'll wait. Let's see who makes it out alive. Take Floyd. Take all of them. Javante Davis. Take him. Take him.
Hey,
Set him
I
there and see what happens.
I can
And
answer
they get
that
paid way
question.
more.
I can answer that question, Mr. McGuire. You said what happened with Connor? Very simple. I mean, what you did was you took away 90%, if not 95% of Connor's weapons, and then you told him to go in there against some guy he can literally murder with his bare hands.
Mhm.
And tell him he cannot use 95% of his weapons, but he can use just this. Come on, man. That's what happened. That's what happened to Connor. Okay? In all actuality and in reality, if you really, really want to know what's up, you know what would happen to your boy if he went in there. Mayweather said, no, I will not ever, ever do it. I can understand.
Mhm.
Boy doesn't want to
Yeah.
die. It is what it is. He does not want to die. Let's be
Yeah.
let's call it orange or apple and apple. He does not want to die in that cage because that's what
Yeah.
will happen if he steps in there with this boxing. He steps in there against a Conor McGregor or anyone else in mixed martial arts. Even
Okay.
someone on the underground circuit will murk that dude.
Oh,
I'll murk that
100%.
dude. I'm saying that right now. I will murk that dude. Easy.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And Don says we need to have a debate over this. It's science, homie. Okay, no. Here's the thing. Here we go. Drop Trevante Davis into Glory MMA. There you go. He's dead.
If he makes it out
Dead
of
in the water.
jail,
Dead
if
in the
he
water.
makes it out of jail, if Javante David beats this 14 count case that's against him right now, that hit and run, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, kids. Come on, kids. Millions of dollars, and you make dumb decisions. Millions of dollars, and you make dumb decisions. Come on,
Hey,
kids. Come on.
hey, we got John Jones. Just like
John Jones
so.
is back. He beat his case.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying, fucking Javante Davis, James Krause, I'm taking Krause all the way. That's what I'm saying.
All
I'm
day,
taking Voodoo
man.
all the way.
All
You know.
day. All
Now,
day.
yes. Yeah, there you go. Apple, apple, orange, orange.
That's
Bang,
right, man.
bang,
That's right.
bang. Make that Orange Julius out of that shit.
That's
Bang,
right.
bang,
That's
bang,
right.
bang.
Hey, we can even throw in Dude Love in there, and Dude Love will
Hell
take
yes.
care of
Dude
of
Love
of
has made way
of,
more money,
of Junior.
way more money than a lot of the boxers, not Javante Davis and what have you, right? And he's made way more money than even the top echelon. Oh, I guarantee you, Mick Foley has made way more money than fucking Stipe Miocic.
Most
There you
definitely.
go,
I can't
right?
wait to get to that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Not comparing shit. All right, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Again, we'll let the Lloyds of Londons and who has bigger insurance policies settle that. But moving
Yeah.
on. Moving
Yeah.
on. We
Mhm.
have Omar Morales against Shane Young, and this is the unanimous decision. This went the way exactly we both kind of said it
Yeah.
was gonna go.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was Shane Young kind of riding the coattails off of Izzy and Volkanovski. I think that's just my opinion.
Mhm.
You know, and it's been cool to have the city kickboxing because remember, originally slated, Volkanovski was the original co-main event until somebody in the corner befell of COVID, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
this is the anytime Izzy fights, there's a shit ton of city kickboxing fighters.
Hmm.
Since Volkanovski has been champion, right? The two fights with Max, there's a litter of fucking city kickboxing guys, right? So
Hmm.
Shane Young is kind of riding in that, but everybody aside from Adesanya and Volkanovski have fallen off the tracks. One would even argue that Volkanovski has fallen off the tracks because in many people's minds, Max Holloway is the people's champion, right? He
Most
beat
definitely.
Volkanovski, right?
Most
So
definitely.
Shane Young is just another casualty to such things. Shout out to Omar Morales, but I just kind of knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. What we knew going into this matchup is Shane Young, even though he is a good striker, boxing primarily, he's going in there with someone who is of the dynamic nature, someone who can use that lead left kick. You know what I'm saying? Someone who can switch stance whenever they want. Someone who's got the bounce. Someone who is continuous in their movement. Someone who is able to attack high, medium, and low. He ran into Omar Morales, and Omar Morales toe tagged him, and that's what we had here. It was a toe tagging case of 15 minutes of toe tagging, and that was that. Shane Young immediately, once he saw that he was being touched, he tried to initiate the takedown, but Omar's takedown defense was solid. Solid. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't go somewhere you're comfortable, guess what? You're in for a long 15 minutes, and he was in for a long 15 minutes. Got toe tagged, but he still managed to do his little headbutt thing that he does. So shout out to Shane Young for keeping it Maorian. Maorian,
Maori,
did I say that
yeah,
right?
Maori,
Yeah,
Mari,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. For keeping, you know what I mean, keeping that spirituality going, even in defeat. But Omar Morales was the man today, or yesterday, I should say, and today, because he's still riding high, and he's balling.
yeah, no. Don McGuire says, come on with the syndicated show to debate this. You forget I shoot Kraus and Glory. No, I don't
Okay,
forget. That's why I brought that up. I'm smarter than the
let's
average
go.
player. Just
Let's
saying.
go. Let's
So,
go.
Voodoo, there you
Let's
go.
go.
There
Let's
you go.
do it. Let's do it, champ. Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it.
There,
This one's easy, champ. This one's
that's
easy. I
easy.
understand you love boxing. I understand it. I mean, I used to love boxing too back in the
Hmm.
days of Mike Tyson. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And once that was over, boxing was over. Let's be honest with ourselves. Once that was over, boxing is over. Every now and then I'll catch a Floyd Mayweather because he's very defensive, or I'll catch a Canelo. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I don't know none of these dudes, man. I don't know none of these dudes. I know Spence and a handful of people. Let's just say that. I know a handful of people. And they're not even fighting each other. These
Yeah.
so many belts and none of these dudes are fighting each other. What's going on? What's
Yeah.
how can you call yourself a world champion when there's another guy right next to you, right here, with the same amount of belts that you got in the same weight class, talking about I'm the world champion? Got two dudes with 6 or 7 belts each, calling each other world champions, but yet they've never fought. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. I'm not buying Mr.
Yeah.
McGuire. I'm not buying it.
And he says, call out, don't suck, champ. Uh,
That's
I
right.
all day I know that other said thoughts and theory. Pick a day.
Okay.
Pick a
All
day.
right.
So
All
there you
right.
go.
We'll
So
figure it out.
for
We'll
but
figure it out, Mr. McGuire. We'll
yeah,
figure it out. I
I
can't
say
wait.
you take Invicta, the entire Invicta FC locker room. Take anybody in a fight. We're talking fight, right? Full on fight. All the Invicta, all the ONE FC, the atom weights in ONE FC will fucking tear through the fucking people that are making like 80 times more than they are. I guarantee you. That's why I understand Tyron Woodley's fucking deal and John Jones' fucking deal, but again, we'll get to that. We'll fucking get to
That's
that.
right. That's
Yes. Yes. So, in a match where basically two people beat the shit out of each other. Speaking of fights, and again, this 205, I'll put these two up against any 205er in boxing, but Mikael,
Mm-hmm.
uh, wow, go
Oh,
for it,
let's
bud.
check. Oh, let's
Yes,
check.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, let's
let's
check
check.
that out. Yeah. Oh, let's check that out. And he went against one of my favorite fighters to say, Modestus Bukakas, or as I like to say, Modelo Bukaki. And shout out to the UFC sponsor, Modelo. If you're looking for a podcast to sponsor, I'm just saying, we'll Modelo Bukaki all day, which equates to a Steve Austin beer bash. So Austin 316 says,
That's
I just
right.
whip your asses. So
That's
there you
right.
go. There you
Hey
go.
man.
But
Hey, I thoroughly enjoyed this matchup between these two fellas. You know, Mike Mikhail is such a calculated. He reminds me of what's that former Pride champion, the Russian fella, the last emperor.
oh,
Oh,
Fedor
He reminds me of
Emelianenko.
Emelianenko. He reminds me of that guy. And you know, when you hit him hard, he doesn't really show you much on his face. You know, he's always calm, he's collect, and he's the way he serves with his hands. Oh my, he's got beautiful boxing. He's got one of the best boxings in MMA. I will say, and for him to be looking the way he looks, he does not look like a fighter. He does not look like a champion. But then when you get in there with him, he shows you something different every time. I remember him. This is why I picked him. I remember his focus. I remember how poised he always is, and I remember how he puts together combinations, especially the head to the body. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. But Bukowskis was not bad himself. You know, he was able to use some of his kicks, but he was in there against a scientist, man. He was in there against someone who comes from murdering people. You know, I wouldn't be surprised Mikhail was special forces at some point. I wouldn't be surprised because he's always stone cold. You know, ice running through his veins, and he's in there for 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes are always explosive. He always loves to take the center of the ring and put you to your heels and bring the fight to you. He's not afraid of anyone, and he shows that every time. So shout out to Mikhail. Good job on another split decision victory.
There you go. Shout out to Mikhail. Our friend Robert Tyndall says, speak, my friend, speak. So there you go, Voodoo. Just
What's up,
saying, shout
Mr.
out to you.
Tyndall?
Yes,
What's
sir.
good with you?
Yes, sir. And he said, that's it. No disrespect. Nobody disrespects you, man. Like,
Oh yeah,
everybody's
yeah, yeah.
welcome.
Oh.
Everybody.
Oh, Mr. McGuire, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be awesome, most definitely. I love talking to
Absolutely.
you because you have great
Yeah,
insight. You have great insight,
absolutely.
and your experience in the game is always one that I always listen to because you've been there, you've lived it, you've been there. However, Mr. McGuire, this particular case, I'm very well versed in it. Boxing is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. But when you stand boxing by itself next to an army of mixed martial art weapons, boxing will always be
Yeah,
destroyed.
yeah. I mean, and literally, I will put this card, even though this might have been a lackluster card in terms of name recognition. You put them against their equivalents in boxing in a fight, these guys walk out with drinks in hand and all that jazz, you know. So or not in the case of Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov, the cousin of Habib. He
Mm-hmm,
basically best Jared Gooden in
mm-hmm,
a unanimous decision victory. Jared Gooden fared a lot better than I thought he was. He
mm-hmm,
cracked Nurmagomedov
mm-hmm,
way more times than I thought.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
obviously I thought much like his cousins, you know, the Habib and Habib's little brother kind of
mm-hmm,
wrestle, you know, and I
mm-hmm,
think even Habib's brother has got like strikes and what
mm-hmm,
have you, more
mm-hmm,
striking style than Habib, but even still, Jared Gooden caught some shot, cracked Nurmagomedov a litany of times, but obviously volume and then the takedowns went to Abu Bakar. I
That's
don't
right.
disagree with the judges on this one. This was a fabulous fight where did think there was much. This one, I it was a lot better than what I thought it was going into it. I love this fight. This is amazing.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with you. It was an awesome matchup. When you think of the Nurmagomedovs, you don't think complete fighter because Khabib is the first thing that pops in your head, and we know he's wrestling dominant. I mean, Khabib doesn't feel it's necessary to do anything else when you're wrestling absolutely dominates everyone. And it was quite true in the fact of Khabib being 29-0 and all that. But Khabib is an outlier. Khabib is in space by himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
What Khabib does can only be done by him.
Mm-hmm.
To get away with what he got away with 29 times, only Khabib could have done that. Only Khabib. I will always give Khabib that respect. But Abu Bakr is different. Completely different. What was the other guy's name that fought last week under Khabib? His friend?
Oh, Islam Makhachev.
Islam Makhachev. I love Islam Makhachev. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
His striking is phenomenal. Yes, he's a fantastic grappler, but he's got striking to back it up. Islam can stand up with the best of them. He can stand up with the best of them. Abu Bakr also proved that, hey, man, I'm not just all wrestling. I will wrestle because, I mean, it's my bread and butter. I will be stupid not to do it. So he did, he did it. But that wasn't the primary thing that we saw yesterday. We saw him throw hands. We saw him throw kicks. We saw him show just how complete he is ready to be in that octagon. And I was
Mm-hmm.
very, very impressed. That stuff I know he didn't learn from Khabib. Because
Yeah.
if he learned it from Khabib, Khabib would be able to do those things that he did. And
Yeah.
no. And Khabib is his coach or whatever you want to call it. But he didn't learn that striking from Khabib. That I know
Yeah.
for a fact. So Abu Bakr, he's on his way. He's on his way. Does he still have a lot to learn? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. However, that wrestling prowess will get him out of most difficult situations. So he still has time to learn, and he'll get away with most things due to his wrestling powers.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. But congratulations to Abu Bakr.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And appreciated my brother, Don McGuire says. And the Queen, former California State champion, current Fearless Woman MMA champion, Jasmine Tap Out Queen Pouncy says, Voodoo! Hey, y'all! What's up, champ?
What's up, champ? Congratulations on your last victory, champ. You went out into foreign territory and you came home with the belt.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you do, man. This is Nubians. This is a Nubian thing. I've been watching
Yeah.
you for many, many, many years now. What,
Mm-hmm.
some 8 years now? And you stay true to the game. You keep taking names and taking scalps. This is the only way to do things, man. So keep at it. You know what I mean? You're always in great shape. So keep at it. You never know when that phone call's gonna come. You know what I mean? I know you're gonna be ready anyway. Your father, your uncle, everyone's always, you know what I mean? Everyone's always about it. Y'all about it. The Nubians are about it. I look forward to
Yeah.
working with you guys one of these days.
Yeah. Shout out to Nubians MMA, 100%. And Don McGuire promises it will be a good show. We shall see. No,
Oh yes.
100%. And a
Oh
win
yes.
is a win. No, 100%.
True.
100%. Now, speaking of wind and wins, right? We have Alonzo Menafield versus Fabio Chenot. And this was the first, actually, the second uh, kind of finish of the night, right? Uh, this happened literally midway through the card. If this is a 10 fight card, right at five. First and five is where we got our finishers. And Alonzo Menafield basically took out Chenrat, right? The fact of the matter is Fabio did sneak in some cool shots, but that just, I mean, Alonzo just walked through him. Just walked through him. You know, basically, it should have been a KO, but then Alonzo basically, Von Flue choked him, and it's all she wrote. This one is done with a minute and 11 seconds in the very first round.
Most definitely, most definitely. First thing I immediately noticed upon putting my eyes upon these two fellas, Alonso was much, much larger than Fabio. Fabio took this fight on short notice because Alonso's uh, uh, dancing partner, William Knight. William Knight is a fella that looks like the guy from Underworld. Remember that vampire movie? The guy
Yeah.
that sounds like this. That
Yeah.
guy that sounds like this. Yeah, he looks like that guy. I was looking forward to watching that match, but COVID or what was it? COVID? yeah, COVID got in the way and ruined that one for us. So the young man, the young champ, the young RFA champion steps in there on short notice, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice. When he got there, I could see that he was in awe of the arena. He was in awe of Dana White. He was in awe that he's there in the UFC. He was in La La Land. He was in the dream world, forgetting that he's in there against a murderer. You know what I mean? So when that gate shut, clank, he woke up, and next thing he knew, there's a madman across the cage from him about to kill him. It all became real all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Alonzo went after him. Fabian was able to get some kind of clinch, get the headlock. Alonzo picks him up, slams him on the ground. In his fear of the moment, he held on to the head. So Alonzo, I could hear Alonzo's corner saying, "Yeah, go ahead and trap that arm and lock your arm over the other side." Blah 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 blah. So he gets a Von Flute, or now called the OSP. Get the Von Flute choke in there, and he easily took a submission victory. It was well executed. Fabio, one thing I can say is congratulations to you for having the guts to even step in there against such a specimen. Respect there. But two, I hope this is out of your system now, right? Because you took the fight on short notice, I'm sure Dana will give you another chance. The UFC will give you another chance. Make sure you're prepared when you get that second chance. Make sure you're prepared, because you might not get another one after this, right? They always guarantee one. I mean, it's no guarantee, but usually they will give you an extra match if you come in and you lost your first one. You know what I mean? On short notice, they will give you an extra match. They'll give you time to prepare. So when they do give you time to prepare, please do not spoil it for yourself by being in awe of the arena or in awe of the moment. Man, you've earned it. You're RFA champion, former champ, whatever. You are a champion forever. You've been RFA champion. That means you've got something. This is why the UFC called you. This is you've got something that they feel can be nurtured and it can grow. So jump back in the lab, figure out what went wrong, get this fixed, and come back as soon as possible to prove yourself before they forget you.
Yep. Yeah. I think Shakira said it best. Something about "Don't Forget Me" or whatever. And that's also a Chili Pepper song. So there's that. But yeah. And Don McGuire says Francis learned from Dewey Cooper, a boxer. Yep. And if in a fight,
Sure.
you put Francis, Ruiz, Joshua, Wilder, and there's a fourth one. I can't remember who.
Tyson Fury.
Fury. Yeah.
All
Again,
dead.
Francis walks out.
Francis beats all of them in the same night.
Same night.
Blast double, baby. Blast double. Hit him with that blast double. Finish him up with that. Easy. Yeah. Easy money. He beats all four greatest current champion in boxing in one night. Yep. Kills them all. Yep.
100%. 100%. So, this is the main card, right? And we were going to figure out whether paying $90 for this pay-per-view was worthy of such of an investment or it was absolute malarkey. Well, in this case, it was malarkey because it was Jamie Malarkey who KOs Comer Worthy in 46 seconds. This one happened quick. Jeez, man. It's a tough road for Comer Worthy. Big win. So everything that I said about the former Shane Young, not saying about Malarkey. This is a case where one of the city kickboxing guys came out to show out. And big win because Comer Worthy is a formidable opponent. Jamie Malarkey proves that he's just not another city kickboxing guy, understudy of Volkanovski or Israel Adesanya, that he is his own person. Yep. And he showed it in this victory of a worthy opponent. Literally, it says it in his name in 46 seconds.
Yeah. Malarkey, Malarkey, Malarkey. He went in there and he showed a complete striking package, precision. You know what I mean? One thing we know about Karma Worthy, he's got lots of power in his hands, and if he hits you, you're gonna go out. But if he can keep him from hitting you, there's gonna be so many holes in this game because he's bringing such force that when he throws a punch or a one or a two or whatever, there's so much force driving that punch that he always tend to lose balance or overcommit to the shot because they're not snaps. Right? This is the difference between we remember we've talked about front kicks. I like my front kicks to be snapping front kicks rather than the tie push. There is always a time for a tie push, right? But you can't do it all the time. When you snap that front kick, you can pull that heel back before it gets grabbed, right? So Kama Worthy is like the Thai thrust kick, right? The teep, they call it. He's more like that. It's 100% force every time. But if he hits you with that, you're going out. But if he can stay calm, collected, keep the head on the swivel, and toe tag him, piece him up, find an opening, counter, you get what you got yesterday. Karma getting knocked out again. Second first round knockout. If you look at his history, there's another pair of back-to-back knockouts. You know what I mean? In the first round, and another pair of second round knockouts. So this is becoming a habit. You know what I mean? It's time to figure something else out, Karma, if you want to continue at the highest level, right? These guys are dangerous. These guys are dangerous. These guys, they train with the very best in the world. The very best in the world. And you're bringing this to the table? This is not enough. This is not enough. It's time you invest in your grappling. This is missing in your game. What about your kicking game? I don't see much kicking from you. I don't see complete striker from you, Karma. Yes, you have great power, and I picked you to win. I think you picked Malarkey, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wood. Yeah. So, Karma, I picked you to win. I picked you to win for a reason because you have death in your hands. But you got to set it up, right? Right? There's 3 points of to attack in a human body. You got the head, the mid, which is your, the body or whatever, and then you got the legs. If you're not diversifying your portfolio, it's easy to understand that, okay, he's coming after the head. Just all I need to do is protect that, and then boom, easy. Easy. Then I can hit you with a counterattack, high, medium, and low, because I'm always going to diversify my portfolio. I'm not just going to headhunt. So Karma needs to really go and search deep within himself. He needs to go to some mountain, climb a mountain, go meditate, think about what you need to do. There's many skilled people out there that can get him where he needs to be. I don't know what's going on, but at 16-8, I think he's heading in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
At this level, at this weight class, he's heading in the wrong direction because 155 has been the deepest from a very, very long time ago. From the time the 155-pound division was created to now, it remains formidable. You know what I mean? Average human beings are in this 155-pound range. So therefore, you're going to get some of the best humans on the planet in this division. So if he's not stepping up his grappling and his kicking, he won't last long. There's a high probability that he will get damaged if he doesn't watch out.
Yeah. No, 100%. And yeah, he said blast. Don McGuire says blasted on point.
Yeah,
Yep. No, we got
blasted
blasted.
indeed.
100%.
Blasted.
100%.
Yeah.
So hopefully it turns around for Worthy. But speaking of turnarounds, right? It's funny because you say Karma Worthy is headed for a direction. Well, that direction isn't one direction because this motherfucker ain't Harry Styles wearing a dress. But I digress, right? Two people that have probably worn a dress in some form or fashion in their lives is Miranda Fear the Maverick and Jillian Robertson. And I actually thought Robertson did a lot better than what I thought she was going to do. But obviously, a lot of people we kind of convinced. I mean, we're kind of convinced that she was running scared of Maverick, and I'm not saying that that wasn't true, but she got a lot of Maverick in some of the grappling exchanges that happened. But obviously, Miranda Maverick is just so superior a level to one Jillian Robertson that it wasn't even close. You were like, no, oh, no, no, yeah. And again, if you put money on Robertson, your pocketbooks are probably looking a little bit lighter today, the day after, than they were going into this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I once again I'm in 100% agreement with you. Yeah, there's a good chance Julian Robinson listens to this show because she went out there with intent to prove something, to
Mm-hmm.
shut us up, to
Yeah,
make us eat our words.
I agreed.
You know what I mean? She maybe she was trying to prove something to herself as well. Not only prove to herself that she wasn't afraid of Miranda, or she believes she has what it takes to beat Miranda, but she went out there and she gave it her best. So shout out to you, Jillian Robertson. Uh, it is what it is. You did your best. But when we're talking about the future and we're talking about where we're headed, Miranda Maverick is the embodiment of what we're talking about. She's got the wrestling, she's got the boxing, she's got the kicks, she's got the submission. As you can see, Jillian brought top level jujitsu at her, and she was like we predicted. She will go through that fire, defend against the submission attempts and the takedown attempts, and keep it on the feet and keep it striking. And Robertson did her best to strike, but unfortunately, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. When I can put together my package of head, medium, and low, or high, medium, and low, a lot better than you, there's a good chance I'm gonna toe tag you. And that's what we witnessed here. We knew that Miranda could put that package together a lot better than Jillian, so we chose Miranda to win. Even from the first time before the fight got when the fight fell out, we knew she was gonna win then too. But Jillian had time from then to now to improve a little. The resistance was futile. Nothing was going to change. She needs years and years and years of constant work while Miranda stays stagnant to be able to beat her. And that ain't gonna happen. That ain't reality, that's fantasy. So reality came true. Miranda Maverick, shout out to you and good luck on your next matchup in the UFC.
No, absolutely. Man, when you said, you know, package and head, there was I thought you were going completely different. I'm glad where it ended up. So shout out to you for that analogy. And Don McGuire says Miranda schooled her at her own game. She's only 2 fights in the UFC. Her BJ in terms of Robertson, her
Mm-hmm.
BJJ wasn't as good as she thought. She did
Mm.
jock the first fight and the second. This is like the
Yeah.
third go around. This is the third go
Yeah.
around. Yeah, so no, 100% Don McGuire. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey. Ah.
But you know where we are? We're at the co-main event
No,
of
not
the
yet.
evening.
We got one more. We got one more.
Oh wait, yeah, fucking ass.
Sean
Never mind.
O'Malley.
Oh, you know why? I erased this one from my memory because this fucking dumbass Takeshi 6ix9ine wannabe fucking KO's Luke. Fucking ass. Ah, son of a bitch. I wanted to get on. I don't know. Yes, Sean O'Malley KO Vicente Luque. I'm not happy. Fuck this shit. Go for it. I got nothing. I really fucking got nothing.
Vicente Luque.
I wanted fucking Vicente Luque to beat the shit out of O'Malley like a fucking redheaded stepchild, like fucking cousin Oliver from the fucking Brady Bunch. Shit. I wanted her to
Thomas
beat.
Almeida.
Oh, whatever. I see. I didn't even remember his name. Thomas O'Malley, Thomas Almeida. I don't give a shit what his name was. As long as the Sugar Show got derailed, got canceled, and the Sugar Show did not fucking get canceled. So I'm pissed. The T-shirts are too tight, too Billy. Fucking A. Just saying. Can't even afford me to wrestle around. I'm one of the biggest legend stars around. Fuck.
Hey,
That's
hey, it was a, it was a sugar show though. It was a sugar show.
I
Thomas
got
Almeida
diabetes.
brought
I don't
Thomas
want this shit.
Almeida. He brought his Muay Thai. He brought his Muay Thai. You know, he brought his traditional Muay Thai, and unfortunately for him, he didn't have any advantage in the reach department. You know, so therefore, Sean O'Malley, being the sniper that he is, he immediately was able to establish distance immediately. Thomas used the longest weapon that he has, which is the kick.
Oh,
Sean is staying there, man. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna touch him every now and then, but you're not gonna throw anything, especially when you don't have advantage in the reach department. You're not gonna throw anything at O'Malley that either he can't get out of the way of or he cannot check, right? So Thomas, hands and feet, he puts together really well, but against an in and out fighter like Sean O'Malley, all his efforts fell on deaf ears. Because Sean O'Malley was looking phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. The ones and twos, the counter twos, the switching the stands, the turning back kicks, the dynamicness in its nature was on full display. And I loved every moment of it, man. I loved every moment of it. I look forward to seeing him and Chito run it back. I think with this performance, he has proven to all of us, even you, according to Woods, he's proven to you that he's earned the right to get that fight back. And I hope Chito grants him that opportunity so we can see what's truly going to happen when these two face each other. Thomas Almeida is a very, very legit individual in this weight class. And for Sean O'Malley to go in there and finish him, finish Finish him? He Mortal Kombat him. Flawless victory. Fatality. He finished them off. Finished him. Twice in the same fight. He walked away twice after he dropped this dude. Twice. Hey. Sean O'Malley has earned his way to a rematch with Chito Vera is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me, this dog is distracting me. But I look forward to that match. I look forward to that match. Right now, all the cards are in Chito's hand. So if he doesn't want to do it, I understand.
yeah.
I understand. He might want to save it for a rainy day. Let Sean build his star a little bit more. If if anything starts to waver on the Cheetah train, he could be like, "Hey, what's up now?" You know what I mean? Boom, he's right back in there with a get out of jail free card in Sugar Sean O'Malley. So if he doesn't want to fight right now, I can understand that strategy. He's being strategic. So shout out to Sean O'Malley. Shout out to Chito. Shout out to Thomas Almeida for the wonderful display of mixed martial arts. And I look forward to seeing Sugar Sean back in there, man. I look forward to it. He looked pretty good. He looked damn good, man. He reminded me of a skinny Conor McGregor, but skinnier and longer, more lanky. His counter twos look just like Conor. Just like Conor with the long arms, that pop. I love that so much. I love that counter. That it's almost like a taekwondo, a hop back to a boxing too. So keep mixing it up and keep raising the game. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, boom. I think still sugarless. No, 100%. 100%. 100%. Fuck this. I'm switching to fucking coconut sugar. My fucking glucose index is all fucked up. Fuck all this shit. You were talking about O'Malley's reach. Oh, O'Malley and fucking Casey Kenny can reach around and get it. Fucking human centipede style and talk about it on their fucking Twitch stream. I could give a shit about either of them. Good lord.
Speaking of
Sorry.
that Twitch stream, there was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about last time. You just brought it back to my mind. Do you think that lady's contract was never renegotiated because she made such a big scene about that?
Who?
You think Megan Anderson, right? You think there was a connection as to why she was never renewed in the UFC? I mean, there are worse
No.
fighters than she is. How come
Yeah,
they didn't bring her back?
no, but she said she wanted time away. That was her
Oh,
statement. Like
oh,
she's
I
not
see.
even
Okay.
entertaining, because I'm sure Bellator would probably want her to feed her to Cyborg and all
Mhm.
that shit, and
Mhm.
obviously you've got Kayla Harrison over at PFL. You've
Mhm.
got
Mhm.
and I think Harrison fights at 155, right? So that's even a bigger weight class than whatever. So, but I don't. I think Megan, she uprooted her life from Australia to Missouri, whatever. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's just yeah. Oh, damn! Don McGuire said Megan just sucked. Fuck. That's not somebody who knows the team. So Don Don McGuire, you win. Fuck. You pulled the card. I'm done. Yeah. There's nothing no more for me to say. Shit. You're somebody that's been in the inside. So if you're saying
That's
that,
right.
that's gospel. This is Sunday. Oh, this shit. I'm like I'm fucking speaking in tongues, but because
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
no. Here we go.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
From the man who
All right.
knows.
There you go,
So
man.
so there you go. Yeah. So I mean, it's cool she got a Invicta title out of it, but fuck, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
truth,
Yeah.
our truth. Shout out to Don McGuire. Check out the Fighter's Voice with Don McGuire, wherever you can
That's
get your
right.
fucking podcast from. It's a good fucking fun. Good fucking fun. Now, yep, we are at the co-main events of the evening. Ha 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 ha! Fucking Tyron Woodley got knocked the fuck out. Ha ha! I ain't mad at it. I'm not even. You couldn't like. I didn't even give a shit who did it. Right? Just somebody. Vicente Luque beat the shit out of Tyron Woodley. Right? Fucking KO'd him. Fucking sent him all wobbly and shit like that. And then fucking whatever. People were saying Woodley looked good. I've been the way that Don McGuire feels about Megan Anderson. I felt about Tyron Woodley after UFC 209. After UFC 209. That was it. I was done. I didn't, and it's not just that he had a dance partner in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I didn't want to see Stephen Wonderboy. I still don't want to fucking see Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. That was literally 209 to 260, right? That was 59 UFCs ago, or 49 UFCs ago. 49 UFCs ago, I was done on this motherfucker, and I'm done. And here's the deal, all right? And we're gonna get into the John Jones situation and everything. I understand what Tyron Woodley was trying to do, trying to entertain outside endeavors, right? To get that bread, to get that paper, as they say, right? Ain't mad at him for that, right? But then you fucking pick a fight with Dana, right? And then want more money. How do you get more money? Having people watch you, and then you have boring fights on top of that. What the fuck? What the fuck? Dude, you could have been like a champion and not just belts because you have one. You have a Strikeforce belt. You have a UFC belt, right? You're one of the best wrestlers to ever come out of your region, right? Amazing, amazing. You train with Ben Askren, right? Another amazing wrestler, two-time world champion before he got to the UFC, right? But the thing about it is, yep, Woodley needs to go back to the regional shores. Woodley just faded out and believes his own hype. No, I agree. And I would even say the fucking regional shows because people are like, oh, Tyron Woodley to Bellator. I don't want it. I fucking don't want to do it. Because guess what? Every fight since 209, right? Every fight since 209, he's lost. Every fight since 209, he's lost. Because he had Usman, right? And then the fucking two fights after. I don't want it anymore. He's done. Like he's done. Somebody needs to fucking sit him aside and say, "Motherfucker, you're done. You're done." And you were done after 209, right? And again, you at a time where things like a fighters union are being talked, right? Things about obviously the UFC and people getting more money, right? You could have been a champion, right, of those causes, right, and brought real change and made the promoters listen. And sometimes you gotta have a little bit more. You get more flies with fucking honey than you do with shit, right? So, or bees with honey than shit because flies and shit they like it. But anyway, but that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? You fucking butter up if you're trying to get more money. I, I mean, outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who do you know? Who do you know that has said "fuck you" to their boss and got more money?
Not even Hulk Hogan did that and got away with
Yeah,
it. Not even the Ultimate Warrior.
right. You know, I'm talking Tachi Palace. Woodley ain't even good for Tachi Palace. Sorry, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And I know where this goes. This goes to fucking Tito Chuck 3, right? We're gonna see 2030.
Oh shit.
Woodley fucking chiming on fucking Twitter from like half AI face talking about he wants a rematch with fucking Usman in 2030 in some rinky dink fucking promotion. This ends now. I'm good. I'm good. You just showed Dana that you're not worth the money. You just showed the fans you're not worth their viewing time.
Mm.
And can you think of a time where there are more kind of tugging away for people's engagement, whether it be social media, whether it be streaming services? There's WWE Network, Paramount Network, Showtime, Boxing, DAZN, all this shit, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And you want more money and you want more fans, but have boring fights and piss off the boss? Fuck. And lose your fights. This is facts. You have less brain cells, like far less brain cells than what you did in UFC 209, right? I mean, and that's the deal, the name of the game, right? You fucking spar, you lose brain cells and everything like that, right? But for real, you have considerably more damage than you did, like literally 49 UFCs ago, right? So, with that all being said, Woodley, you're done. We're Woodley versus Justin Baseman. Oh fuck. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. And
You
a
might get it.
shout out to Justin Baseman. I mean, he did take a professional boxing match last night, which is an eerie foreboding, right? Woodley and Baseman lost last night. We might see them in BKFC. I don't want to see it.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I I,
Wouldn't be
I don't want it.
surprised.
I don't want it. I'm not paying for it. I in good conscience cannot put my patron behind that. I'm not.
Mm.
No. So Woodley, again, former Strikeforce world champion, former UFC champion.
Hmm.
You could have been, if you had stopped 49 UFCs ago, you could be considered as one of the greats, right? Now you're punchline, and yes, you got $50,000 for a fight of the night. Cool, bro. But when you're fucking slurping through a straw at 45, was it worth it? Was it worth it? That's all I want to know.
Once I saw that this fight got the bonus, I knew that Tyron was cut. That was Dana's severance package right there. The fight was all right. It was good. Um, Tyron came in there with an intent to prove something to himself that he still belongs in the top five. He still belongs reaching for that title. He still belongs and still feels in his mind that he can beat anybody in the world at any time, which is true. But unfortunately, Tyron doesn't have a kicking game. That's one. Tyron has good wrestling. He has good wrestling, but he doesn't have good grappling. Tyron doesn't have good boxing. He does have immense power in his hands. If Tyron is able to measure out with a one and drop the two, there's a good chance you're gonna go out, right? Or just throw a counter two or whatever. There's a good chance you're gonna go out. But if your weapon is the 1-2 or the two or the clinch, that's it. That's it. That stuff worked a long time ago when you won the title. Now, these young folks, man, these young chaps that grew up in the gym, they're wise to your tricks. They're
Mm-hmm.
wise to your old antiques. If you are not willing to put the time and effort in to evolve with the time, to evolve with mixed martial arts, you will get done like Tyron Woodley got done yesterday. Vincente Luque was custom built to take out people like Tyron Woodley. He will come forward. He is not afraid of your big shot. He knows what's coming, one. So when you do throw it, he's going to move and then he's going to keep coming forward, tearing you up. And when you do grab him, he's going to pummel and he's going to do what he has to do to free his arms. And then he's going to put you on the fence and feed you a little taste of your own medicine. And if he gets you to the ground, he's going to do what he has to do. And if he catches a neck, guess what? He's going to choke you out until you tap or until you go out. Darce choke finishes this one. I mean, it was a very good match, but I do not believe it was fight of the night. I don't believe it was fight of the night. I think fight of the night goes to Mikael and Modesta in my book. I'll give it to them rather than or Mark Andre, and Abu. Those dudes, those two fights to me were more worthy of fight of the night than this one round win for Vincente Luque. So that's just my humble opinion.
No, I agree. I agree. Uh, yeah, man. So this one, yeah. Donald Guire says Woodley is so yesterday on the real. No, he is Hillary Duff's 2003 kit plus those chicks on the TV show The Real. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. So
This
shout
this
out to The
game,
Real.
this game is unforgiving, man. It's unforgiving. This is why I love mixed martial arts so much. I was an avid boxing fan until I discovered mixed martial art when I was in college. When I saw Horace Gracie with that pajamas take out these people, these big giant muscle bound dudes, these big giant karate dudes, this big like I mean the dude's a tiny man taking these people out with his pajamas, right? He's taking these people out. Now I was like, there's got to be something to this. There's got to be something to this. And I started watching. I kept watching. We're talking 1990.
4?
Well, like 96. 96. 96. 96, 97. This is when me and my homie Gung Fu, we ran into a man by the name of Miguel Angel. He was the one that introduced us to mixed martial arts on video. We've always studied under Bruce Lee, right? And understood the philosophies of trying to acquire as much tools as possible. But the first time I saw uh, uh, MMA, the UFC, was at Miguel Angel's. So when I was going to CSUN, there was a fella by the name of Miguel Angel, and he was a gardener. So he would, since he does gardening, he'll come by our dorm on the outside, and he'll see us training in the living room. And he's like, "Hey man, you guys know UFC? Like, what the hell is that?" And he was like, "Oh man, don't even trip. Come to my house." So we went to his house, and boom, we started. We would meet every pay-per-view at his house, and that's how mixed martial arts entered my world. So once that happened, there's no going back to boxing, right? When I've had caviar and I've had 5-course meal, I'm not going back to McDonald's when I can have caviar all day long at my
All day.
choosing. You know what I mean? I'm not going back to fast food, man. I'm just not. Even though this fast food tastes good, right? I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but I've got caviar. I've got 5-star restaurants. You know what I mean? I've got Wolfgang Puck and whatever. You know what I mean? I've got the top of the line. I've got Gordon Ramsay cooking for me in my living room. So this is how I choose to eat now. And the very best is what drives me now.
Yeah, man. So yeah, speaking of like roadkill and I guess fast food, we've got the main events of the evening. We have now former UFC World Heavyweight Champion Stipe Miocic against the Predator and new UFC World Heavyweight Champions Francis the Predator Ngannou. This one was a quick affair. This one gets done in 52 seconds of the second round. Uh, and this one, the way that we said, if it, I distinctly remember if this match is finish within like half of the time. What is it? 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and before of the third round, that Francis was going to be the new. If it went beyond that, it wasn't going to happen, right? And man, there was an opening exchange where I mean Francis clipped Stipe. Stipe was able to clinch up and what have you, and I think that got him through the round. But I just think the damage and the brain damage was just too much for Stipe. A great champion for what he was, you know. And again, a lot of people, and it was said on commentary a litany of times about Stipe being the greatest. You know, we heard that in the promos, but is he right? Could you put him in Pride and him wreck everything? How does Stipe rank with Krokop or Barnett in his prime, or even Mark Kerr? I think Mark Kerr would have gave, Mark Kerr in his prime would have given Stipe a hell. I mean, fuck, Mark Coleman. Like, Jesus Christ, how would he have dealt with Paul Verlins, the polar bear? Those are the questions I want to know, right? So, he's the greatest of this era,
Mm-hmm.
no question. But of an era gone by, because that's what you're equating, right? Greatest of all time, not just this time, all time. That's what you're equating. Legends from the past, legends from the future, stars that haven't even been born or created yet. So, Francis Ngannou, man, I love it because hey, it was Stipe, cool, dude. You want to go fight fires? That's an admirable thing, right? But there is no money, especially as the WME, UFC's parent company, is trying to get the total ownership of this intellectual property, right? There's no money that could be made off of you, right? You're big in Cleveland. Kudos, man. Nothing against Cleveland at all. But the title says world heavyweight champion, right? It almost sounds like pro wrestling, right? And this is one thing that pro wrestling does. If you've seen any of the Young Rock sitcom on NBC, well, you would know, right? Where Rocky Johnson, The Rock's dad, Soul Man Rocky Johnson, basically goes and he gets a nice car, even though they live in the hotel. Because, and when young Dwayne basically asks his dad why, it's just like, hey, the fans at the arena, if they see me go into some junk car and I'm the champion, it's going to water down their perception, right? And they're not going to want to see me as champion, and we will not get paid. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing it, but that is it. People don't need regular dudes as their champions.
Yes.
Sometimes that happens, right? And I think in terms of that story being told, I mean, the fight acumen as well as the story and what juice you can squeeze out of a dude who's a husband and a father and a firefighter. Well, the juice got squeezed up until last night. We gotten all we could out of that story, right?
Most definitely.
Here's the deal: we're cheering for an African champion, right? I mean, he wasn't champion then, but we were cheering it. Here's an American guy raised here. He might have the his ancestral name, right? I believe it's Poland where he's from, right? No, Croatia, Croatia. I'm sorry, Croatia.
Yeah.
My apologies, Croatia,
Hmm.
right? Stipe Miocic, right? Like you've got a very traditional Croatian name. It's
Hmm.
cool, right? Cool, amazing, right? But here you're a real American and can't get through a promo and people can't understand you.
Mm.
Francis, who dug ditches and now is a
Uh,
champion, that's a that's a movie.
mhm,
That's a movie that you could put on Peacock Network, uh,
mhm.
AMC, whatever, play it in the
Netflix,
theater, everywhere,
Amazon. Hmm.
Amazon,
Hmm.
everywhere. That is something everybody is wanting, right? And I just think that, and nothing against Stipe. Stipe was a great champion. He was able to lose it and win it back again, right? His coach, Marcus Marinelli, said, "Yeah, the past 4 years we fought two dudes,
Hmm.
Francis and DC,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And have wins in both, right?
Hmm.
But the catch 22 is they've also got losses with
Hmm.
both, and
Hmm.
this was the loss to Francis, right? So yes, Dewey Cooper, he was
Hmm.
one of the catalysts behind Francis from almost the very beginning.
Hmm.
What can we say? We got a new champ. There's money in the new champ. I shared a meme uh, from I photoshopped Steve about like Dana White being the Wakanda deal because now he's got three African-born champions on his hands, right? And that's awesome. But I hope Izzy, Francis, and Usman aren't just, oh, I'm an African champion, because again, Stipe is, I'm a firefighter champion, I'm an American champion, I'm a Croatian champion, whatever. And again, that story gets old. That story gets old. And you best believe if you get another Chinese champion behind Weili Zhang, right? Dana White will flip and he'll start speaking Mandarin, talking about how great the Mandarin people are, right? Don McGuire mentioned Tachi Palace. Oh, Tachi Palace is great. We're definitely going to go back there. It's been a year. Have they gone back there? Right? So I'm just saying, you go with what sells. That's where Dana is going to go. You're going to go with what
Hmm.
sells. And what sells at this time and place is Francis, right?
Hmm.
And again, what is John Jones going to do when you've been inactive and you barely got through Dominic Reyes? Nothing against Dominic Reyes, and you're in a whole nother field, right? And you're asking for more money. Hopefully, it works. Hopefully, you don't end up like the predecessor in Tyron Woodley that we just saw.
Hmm.
But just saying, it's a very fucking fine line. So
Hmm.
we saw that fine line get crossed tonight. The Predators' new champion, and what I want to actually go to you for,
Hmm.
you are African-born American, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The world heavyweight champion. Did you even think the world heavyweight champion, let alone two other champions of the UFC? You just talked about being in college and seeing Hoist Gracie.
Hmm.
In that same organization, we have not one, not two, but three African born champions. You
Hmm.
are a champion yourself, African born,
Hmm.
in the sport of mixed martial arts. So as we sit here, Sunday, Sunday evening after, 24 hours removed, how are you feeling?
Wow, man, it's 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 excellent to see the three kings on their throne. Three kings, Ngannou, Adesanya, and Kamaru. These three they've made history. They've made history. And I hope the UFC pushes this and gives it the spotlight that it truly deserves. But when we look at Usman and we look at uh, um, Stylebender, their path. was paved for them. They had families who were able to provide for them. Izzy's father was a wealthy man. So, you know, Izzy had everything he needed. You know what I mean? He just had to dig deep to remain focused to reach his goal. Usman, his father was semi wealthy too, because you just don't come from Nigeria to this country without having something. You know what I mean? So he made it here. They lived relative middle class life or higher, right? He ascended and now he is king in his own right at the 170-pound division. But now we have Francis Ngannou. This is a different man. When I think of Francis, I think of Conan. Remember Conan the movie? When
Yeah,
as a
the
child he
barbarian.
was snatched, they killed his entire family.
Hmm.
They snatched him, threw him into slavery, and he had to push that thing going around and around and around.
Hmm.
And before you knew it, he pushed it for years and years and years. Now he's a man. Same thing with Francis. As a child, his mother, had several kids. Father was not there. I guess father passed away. Let's just say father wasn't there. Now, Francis, he's one of the sons. He has to get out there and he has to bring home the bacon. I mean, we're talking 7, 8 year old Francis, 9 year old Francis. Okay, Francis has to get a job. Francis has to pay for his pencils and papers so he can go to school. Francis got to pay for this and pay for that because mom can't do it. It is what it is. It's facts. Okay? Francis gets a job in the sand mine. Francis, for many, many years, digging sand, in the sand mine. For many, many years. Francis, with the little that he makes, goes to school. They make fun of him at school. They laugh at him. They tell him he is not worthy. He is not like them. They tell him that he is nothing. Francis doesn't forget it, all this. Francis continues to fight. Francis, deep down inside, at first could not understand why these people are saying these things to him. You know? At first, Francis thought perhaps it was my fault that this is happening to me. But Francis, life is so tough that he doesn't have, he can never ever feel sorry for himself. Otherwise, he will lose. So Francis keeps pushing forward, keeps pushing forward. Eventually, Francis said, you know what? If something is going to happen, if something is going to change, I got to change it. So Francis set out. He crossed multiple African countries. He made it to the Sahara Desert. This is where Francis began to change as a man. Francis crossed the Sahara Desert. He was baptized with fire. Anyone who knows about the Sahara Desert understands this is the largest desert in the world. Francis crossed that desert, made it to Morocco. Got to Morocco. He was stuck in Morocco for many, many months because now you have to cross a huge body of water between Morocco and I believe it was Spain. Francis bathed in the ocean, multiple times, but finally he made it across to Spain. Upon arrival, he was locked up several months, I believe. He was locked up, but then he was released. Thankfully for him, he wasn't sent back to Africa. Lucky for him, they locked him up instead of deporting him. So now he finds his way to France, homeless. He's in France, broke, but he had a dream. He found the first boxing gym he could find. When they saw him, they're like, "You want to box?" First of all, to teach you how to box properly, it's going to take years and years and years and years because all your best boxers start from the age of what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of amateur boxing. So they're like, dude, you should do MMA. He said, what the hell is MMA? I want to be a boxing champion. They're like, dude, you want to eat, right? He's like, yeah, I want to eat. So while we go over here, okay. He starts his MMA career. Within months, he gets a fight, and the rest is history. Upon facing Stipe Miocic the first time, I believe there was a fear. I believe there was a fear of failing. That fear of failing was why he lost to Stipe the first time. He wanted to. He tried to force the victory. He tried to take it, but you cannot take victory. You cannot take. You can't just take. You have to be patient. You have to play the game right. Right. That first one, he overshot and missed his mark. Stipe, being an experienced veteran, I mean, a blue collar individual himself, comes from hard times too. But no one in the UFC comes from hard time like Francis. No one has been through what Francis has been through. Francis learned from his first mistake facing Stipe. He went back underground and grinded. Francis remembering that there are millions and millions of children in Africa that are looking up to him. Millions. Not just his country, fellow countrymen all around the globe. Not just Africa, all around this world. You
Mm-hmm.
know, for some reason, the heavyweight championship is the most prestigious title there is.
Yeah.
So everyone, everyone is looking to Francis to come through. Even so, that Kamaru came down and helped his brother. You know what I mean? In this rematch, Stipe did everything right. You know, he was lean, he was physically healthy, he had cardio, he had everything.
Yeah.
But guess what? Ngannou is a sponge. Ngannou, he must have been watching our show last Thursday.
I
You
think
know what I
so.
mean? He followed everything we discussed to a T. He brought the head kicks. He brought the kicks. He brought the leg kicks. He was extremely patient. He waited for the event to present itself before making a move. And when he made his move, he capitalized
Mm-hmm.
huge, huge.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He capitalized huge by. I mean, those kicks that he threw changed Stipe. Stipe couldn't understand how he could get hit by something so strong.
Yeah.
He took one to the leg. He took one to the arm. You know what I mean? He couldn't understand how this man, new to MMA, could learn so much in so little time.
So little.
In 3 years, look how much he's improved. He improved
Mm-hmm.
so much that he's able to do things that Stipe can't do, such as kick. Now he's got an advantage. Now he's able to make Stipe's game plan into a funnel. And that funnel is what? Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees the shots coming now. Because
Preach.
now Stipe was changed from someone who can mix it up to someone who has to wrestle
Yeah.
to save himself. And Gagne saw all this. So when the shots came, he stuffed them. Hit the corner, pepper him real good. They stand back up, hit him with a bomb. Shook Stipe to the core. But
To the
Stipe made it
core.
out of the first round. He made it
Mm-hmm.
out of the first round. Now we're in the second round. Win in minutes. Hit him with another big bomb. Bam! He rocked Stipe so bad that Stipe was like,
Didn't know what the
F it.
fuck happened.
He said, F it.
Yeah.
Let's go. If today is the day that I die, then I die today. Shout out, Stipe. Shout out. Stipe said, if this is the day that I die, then I die today.
Yeah.
He stood there and he decided to exchange with Francis Ngannou, a
Mm-hmm.
man of 60 pounds or 30 pounds or more than he is. He
Yeah.
stood there and he traded with him. But unfortunately, he caught one so hard that he was bent backwards.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rashad Evans was
Yep.
the karate guy
Rocky.
knocked him out.
Oh, Machida.
When Machida knocked him out, it
Yeah.
was like that. It was like that. But Stipe, man, the man is to be respected. In regards to the greatest of all time, I'm just gonna say this. Bruce Lee always says people want to call you a superstar, but you should never ever look upon yourself as a superstar. Think of yourself as a martial artist. In this case, the fighter should think of himself as a martial artist or a fighter. Don't fall into the Jedi mind tricks of greatest of all time, goat
Mm-hmm.
this and goat that. It's all a lie. Because the fact is, tomorrow, I mean, just like yesterday, Francis now. So Francis beat Stipe soundly. So
Yeah.
now is he the greatest of all time? If
Right. Exactly.
anyone, yeah, if
Exactly.
anyone is to carry that mantle, there's only one person right now that can carry that mantle in mixed martial arts, and that's John Jones.
Yeah.
He's the only man that is undefeated
Yeah.
in mixed martial arts, regardless of what that record says. Because when he got his hands on Matt Hamill, he was in the process of killing Matt Hamill when he was disqualified. Matt Hamill was fully mounted, bleeding all over the place, getting cut up with terrible elbows, punches. There was no escape for Matt Hamill. So if they would have said no contest, that makes more sense. Because you can't tell me Matt Hamill won that fight when he had to be carried off on a stretcher. How do you win a fight carried off on a stretcher? You know what I mean? Get out of here with that. Nevada Commission or whatever, whoever, whatever. That was nonsense. That was nonsense. Now, Khabib, Khabib is good, but he isn't great. He's good, but he isn't great like John Jones is great. Which brings us to, you know, what's it gonna be? John Jones is out there right now, immediately campaigning. He's
Yeah.
putting it out there. He's putting it out there so we know what's going on. You know what I mean? He's putting his foot down. He's saying, I need to be compensated for my tailings. I need to be compensated. You are not compensating me for my tailing. You know what? Take this belt back. This 205 belt. Take it back. Good luck with
Yeah.
your division. Good luck with your 205 division. But unfortunately, Francis Ngannou is marketable.
Yeah.
If John Jones doesn't take this fight, the Beast will gladly step in. Hey man, the Beast already said, hey man, I'm not chasing no title. I just want to fight. What does
Yeah.
that mean? He wants to get paid. All fighters in mixed martial arts should think this way.
Yeah.
The belt is great. Don't get me wrong. I love the belt. The belt is great. Oh man, people will say, oh man, he did it. But understand, the belt will not feed your family. The belt will sit on your mantle and collect dust,
Eh,
and people will forget about it. Yeah, you're in the record books, but the
eh.
record books does not feed your family. Doesn't feed your family. This is the black beast's idea, and I totally understand. I
No,
totally
100%.
understand. So will he get a match against Francis Ngannou before John Jones? I believe so. I
Oh,
believe
they
the
said
next
it.
match.
They, s-
Yeah.
I mean, John Jones said, let Lewis take it,
Okay. All right. There you go. So Francis
which,
Ngannou versus the Black Beast.
yeah,
That is marketable. That will sell out arenas.
that's where you're
Most
gonna make your
definitely.
money, Lewis.
Most
I
definitely.
guarantee you, Lewis will make the bet. I mean, if he's just a prize fighter and whatever, it's almost like Brock Lesnar in the WWE. Doesn't matter, whatever. That motherfucker. The minute that his music plays, $250,000. $250,000. That's it. The travel, they pay for it, all that shit, and he nets
Hmm.
nets a fucking $250,000, right? And it's like
That's right.
75, what 125 if he speaks and doesn't wrestle, right? So
Right.
that's where we are, right? And
Hmm.
that is the fight of the century, right? Again, look at it, right? Both of them have been on Rogan recently, right?
Hmm.
Where you can
Hmm.
you Joe let you use that footage to build up the whatever. Just those two. It's like when fucking that DJ put the Beatles' White Album and Jay-Z's Black Album and he fucking merged them together. You could just do that. Run them shit, whatever. Fucking the UFC production team, fucking take a hike. Just
Mm-hmm.
look, Rogan, those two fucking episodes, run it together. Play that shit on every social media that you got, whatever. That shit's gonna sell. You don't need nothing. You don't need nothing. Fucking Francis didn't get any education, right? Pretty much sixth grade education. But as you were saying, right? He figured out his own way. He charted his own path. And this is a gentleman who speaks, you know, uh, his native language in Cameroon, French and
Mm-hmm.
English. And again, to your point, only learned English after signing a deal with the UFC. This is
There
exactly
you
what you're
go.
talking about. Every
There you go.
foreign fighter, you got to learn English. And I'm not trying to say that to sound fucking patriotic or whatever the fuck. And no, no, it's just that's where it's gonna sell. You sell
Mm-hmm.
most fights here in North American.
Yeah.
Most fights I played $90 for a fight card were here in U.S. and Canada,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Hey. Hey.
And
Hey.
even if it's fucking Quebec, guess what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ningano speaks French.
Yeah.
He speaks
Let's
French.
go. Let's go. Hey, he's ready. Hey, Quebec, France, he's ready to go, man. He is wherever the money's at. He is beginning to understand. He's initiated now. He's beginning to understand how to play this game. And Francis, man, he's got potential to do great things for the continent of Africa. Not the continent itself, but the children of Africa.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? There's so much talent in Africa that goes. I mean, they're so talented that they find ways to. I mean, there's no jobs. You have these people who are highly intelligent, and there's no jobs. There's no
right,
jobs for them. There's
right.
no opportunity. I mean, look at what Francis had to do to make it to a chance where he can get an opportunity. Look,
Yeah,
I mean, it took him over a year and a half for his journey to leave Africa and make it to Europe. It took him over a year and a half, continuous. You know, I mean, look at this guy with no education. Look at what he's able to accomplish with no education.
yeah.
Look at what he's able to accomplish. Now, imagine all
Late in
those,
life too.
right? Exactly. Imagine all these talented youngsters, Now, Francis, he's providing mixed martial arts now, for his countrymen, right?
Yeah, in
And from there,
Cameroon.
yeah, now that he's a world champion, people are gonna hear. You know what I mean? People are gonna come from other parts of Africa to come to Cameroon so they can train there.
Yep.
And if he wants to expand that, and he can expand that and go to every country in Africa. I mean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The information is getting out. See, this is one thing that always hurts people of brown descent. Uh, Information, the lack of information,
Mm-hmm.
or lack of access to the information. But once the information is acquired, they tend to do very, very well. They tend to do very, very well. As you can see, Ngannou here, no education, no nothing, but the drive, the desire, right? The desire to be something. The desire to be able to say, there is nothing wrong with me. You guys are wrong. It's not my fault I couldn't afford a pencil. It's not my fault my parents couldn't provide for me. You know? Now he's able to look back at those people and say, I am somebody. Not only am I somebody, I am somebody that's potentially greater than you.
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah. Man, fuck, man. It's I literally have goosebumps. It's crazy what that can do, and it's giving back, right? For Aito Heine, from Tahiti, set up Sphere MMA for the island of Tahiti. Tahiti is actually going to become a 10th Planet affiliate. 10th Planet Tahiti is coming, right? That's
Nice.
just a small kind of inclination of what one champion, one fighter can do for their native land, their respective
That's
native
right.
land. So
That's right.
I love it. And
That's
one
right.
person who did that, right, put their native land on the map for especially in MMA is one Conor McGregor, and it looks like Conor's back. We might get the trilogy. Conor Poirier, right? And you were talking
July.
about the difference between paydays and title shots. Well, again, Poirier had a title shot opportunity. He had a title opportunity and elected to go the Conor route, and sell some hot sauce along the way. Shout out to
Hmm.
Dustin Poirier.
Remember back when Dustin was in line to fight Khabib, and
Mm-hmm.
remember we talked about if a Conor opportunity happens, that he should take the Conor opportunity first before the title shot. Remember that?
Yep.
Remember we talked. Well, what this must have been a year ago, man.
Yeah.
We talked about that way back then, and he's doing what we talked about, man. It makes sense, man. See, people who have been in the cage and have bled and sweat, they all eventually come to the understanding that, man, the belt is great, but it's secondary to the pay. Look at John Jones. He's like, man, take this belt, take this $500,000 gold medal belt. Give me some real money. Saying I don't care about the belt. See, he's growing here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't aspire to be a champion. Please do not get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying if I have the opportunity to make 50 million or become a champion, you can keep that scrap metal. Give me the 50 million. That's what I'm saying, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to do that, fighters. If you want to chase a title, go ahead and chase a title, because eventually the title will become a negotiating piece
Mm-hmm.
for you to negotiate for more pay, right? That's great. But if an opportunity presents itself like it did with Dustin Poirier, immediate title shot, earned title shot, or a fight with Conor McGregor that's going to make you boo 3 times what you're going to get paid for the title shot, you're going to make maybe 4 or 5 times that when you fight Conor. I'm fighting Conor, man. You know what I mean? If I beat Conor, fantastic. It keeps rolling to the next title shot, right? But if I lose to Conor, at least my family's good. My family's good.
Yeah.
This is why we do it. Well, most people do it
Most.
to feed their family. Most fighters do it to feed their family. There are some fighters out there who are solo, who do it for the title, who do it for themselves. But most of us are trying to feed our family. And when it comes to me and my ego and being champion or getting enough money that can feed my family and change our tax bracket, I'm changing my tax bracket, man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I'll go chase the title later. Once my finances secure, then I'll go chase some title. But it ain't gonna be the other way around. This is just me.
And remember, Poirier is the champion. It might be interim, but if it's just a belt, he's got a belt in his collection, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter,
The-
right?
That's part of
Same
what
thing.
we're talking about right there. That's
Yeah.
part of what we're talking about right there. He
Yeah.
got the belt, right? The belt did not improve his pocket. He realized that. He's like, I got this now. Okay, I'm a champion, but I'm still where I'm still in the same dirty ass room.
Yep.
The room is still dirty, bro. Now you got a gold belt, a $500,000 belt, gold belt in a dirty ass room. Something needs to change. And it needs to change here, fighters. You change it here. Don't be sucked in with the talks of belts.
Yeah.
Talks of belts. Get
Yeah.
paid. Look. If the belt was so great, why isn't Dana White trying to fight for a belt that's great? You know
Right.
what I mean? Why isn't Sean Shelby trying to fight for a belt if it's so great? It's a Jedi mind trick. The Jedi mind trick you, and you end up chasing the wrong thing. Now, uh, uh, John Jones is like, hey, I'm awake now. I'm awake now. Pay me. And I'm not mad at John Jones for holding his stance, because you've got to fight for yourself. You've got to fight for yourself. Otherwise, no one is going to fight for you. So he's doing that. Now, I'm hoping that these fighters John Jones could become the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
These fighters, if everyone band behind him and say, you know what, man, no more shows. No more shows until, you know what I mean? If they can do that, they can win. They can win. But they're not going to do it. And the powers that be, if it happens, they will pay John. John will be satisfied. And now the spear will be without a head, with no tip. So there you go. That's what's going to happen. That's what usually happens. It's a system that's always worked. It's a skill or a technique that's always worked throughout history in every facet of life. This is what happens, right? All your leaders, you know what I mean? They're gung ho in the beginning, and then somebody kicks some cash to them, and then they start swinging it another way.
Yeah.
This is what it is. Look at all your politicians, same thing. Your
That's it.
politicians get in there, the big companies, they kick them down with a bunch of money. Now they go from working for you to working for some big giant LLC.
Mm-hmm.
This is the deal. This is the
That's it.
American way. So one wants change, one has to create the change, like Francis Ngannou did. He wanted change, so he manifested. He dreamed, and he followed his dream. So follow your dreams, kids.
Follow your dreams. And we're going to follow, if you're a kid, maybe it predates you, right? But if you're a kid dreaming about maybe being on ABC's Wild World of Sports, right? Maybe that was the dream, right? Well, for a lot of fighters in next week's card, you're going to get your wish because we're going to get UFC on ABC 2 next weekend. But before we get there, my goodness, we've got Bellator, we've got one championship, we've got a litany of others. Shout out to Amanda Lowen of Submission Underground on UFC Fight Pass. Took out her fifth UFC fighter in Submission Underground at an undisclosed location. So, see, not even being a UFC fighter is good enough. Jesus Louises. Everything is moving, everything is static. But one thing that is static through your ears is more static of Voodoo in the Woods. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Voodoo in the Woods podcast on Facebook and YouTube. Now, if also you want to get more in-depth action, right? Where can they find you, good sir, on social media, Voodoo?
Oh man, you can find me on Instagram at Voodoo Maximus, Twitter at Voodoo Maximus. Twitter and Periscope are now symbiotically related, so you can find me there and doing my thing, man. And like my man mentioned, Facebook page, YouTube, Voodoo Maximus all day, every day, and you can find him, According Woods, on all platforms. Let's go.
Let's go. But where we're going to go is going to get something to eat. And you should too. You guys, be good this week. And we will see you this Thursday for more Voodoo in the Woods.